Moments ago this morning, Doc Rivers out as the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. He steps down after 3 seasons with the team. It was well documented that there was a disconnect between Doc and the players this season, and the lingering Giannis Antetokounmpo trade rumors only added to that. In fact, Giannis was asked again about his future over the weekend. So this was the quote. It was not said on camera. Quote, "It's a very good question, and I don't know. It's not up to me. We'll see. I feel like sometimes people just don't listen. They listen to the sources. The main source is me. It is what it is. So again, do not disturb on my phone. Go about my day, improve, come back, get better. So if everything goes well, hopefully the Bucks want me here. Why not? But if they don't, okay." All right. So this to me was Giannis saying he truly wants to be in Milwaukee. Now, I think you have said, Wendy, that is not the case. Other people have said that it's not the case. But now he's publicly saying he does want to be in Milwaukee. Does this make it more confusing? What's your reaction to this? Wendy, go ahead.
It's so fatiguing and exhausting. I can't even imagine what it's like to be a Bucks fan or someone in that team, because this has been 35 rounds of this. This interview took place sort of impromptu in Philadelphia. It was essentially his exit interview after the Bucks lost their last game last evening. Our Tim Bontemps was there. He specifically directly asked Giannis if he was going to sign the contract extension that the Bucks would offer him later this year. He can't sign it now. He can't sign it until October. And Giannis gave a non-answer. He said he hasn't been offered it yet, and he didn't say emphatically yes. And that's been really the issue about this whole thing. It's been half in, half out, and not only that, it's been compounded by the fact that the Bucks did not let him play going down the stretch of the season, frankly, because I think they were worried about him getting injured, and I think they were worried about him getting injured because they were worried about what could it do to his trade value. So at the end of the day, I believe Giannis will be elsewhere next season, but there is no way to predict this. It is very frustrating. I will tell you that you guys know I am a very, very big actions over words person. The Bucks were actively in trade discussions with him in February. I believe they will actively be in trade discussions with him in June and July. You don't have trade discussions with somebody of this nature unless you intend to trade him, and that is what I eventually expect to happen.
Leave Wendy up on the screen, please. Let me say this while looking at Wendy. Number one, I don't want to use the word annoyed, but I just want to give Doc Rivers, the now former head coach for the Milwaukee Bucks, some advice. Practice what you preach. Stop talking about living your life and your 7 grandchildren and it. Go ahead and do it. Because the reality of the situation is this. Doc Rivers, I knew he was going to be gone. He talked before the season about how this would be his last. Before a game was played, Shay, before a game was played, Wendy, he talked about stepping away from the game. He talked about he's been a coach for 24 years. He talked about retirement and all of this other stuff. That's what he was talking about. Go ahead and do it. Because I think that this man who's going into the Hall of Fame, who was the 6th, active winningest coach of all time, entering the season, all this stuff. You've accomplished a lot in your career. You won a championship. You've been to 2 NBA finals. A lot of people think if it wasn't for a couple of injuries, particularly Kendrick Perkins, believe it or not, in 2010, you would have beat the Lakers the second time. Stuff like that. If you had Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady healthy, you'd have done stuff in Orlando. We know you're a damn good coach. And I think that there's a heightened level of sensitivity that Doc Rivers has embraced. This is not the time to be doing that. You do that when you my age and you know what, you got 10, 15 potential years left in the business and stuff like that. When you are talking about walking away, you need to be walking away with more peace than Doc Rivers has been enjoying this particular season. So I just want to give that advice to a guy that I've known for 30 years and I've got a lot of love for. It's like, relax, man. People going to say what they're going to say. You know what? You know what you've done. You're going into the Hall of Fame, and unfortunately, he's sitting there going back and forth with every report, every rumor, every hint. Stop. Just stop it. People going to say what they're going to say. You've been around too long to not know better than that. Let it go. That's number one. Number two, Giannis. To Giannis. Let's understand what's going on here. Giannis is looking to leave. Wendy was absolutely right in what he reported. So was Shams. So was everybody else. Nobody wrong here. The difference is that Giannis doesn't want to be the bad guy to the fans of Milwaukee. He loves these people. He loves this city. He loves the way they've embraced him and his family and the commitment that they've shown to him. And by the way, they made changes because of him. Not just roster changes. Remember when Adrian Griffin got let go as the head coach for the Milwaukee Bucks, okay? They were like 31-13. It wasn't like the man was losing basketball games. He was winning. But Giannis wasn't happy with them. So let's understand that Milwaukee Bucks made modifications, alterations. They did what they could, but now they're in a position where it doesn't seem like they're capable of building the pieces around him. So he needs to go. He knows this because he knows basketball. But he loves the city, and he never, ever wants his name attached to being dismissive of a city that has meant so much to him personally. That's what this is about. Giannis knows he wants to go. Giannis knows it's best for him to go. He is one of the top 5 players on the planet Earth. Mired in Milwaukee, not making playoffs. By the way, Wendy pointed this out last week, Shay. They were losing games when Giannis was on the court. Not just when he was off it. You understand? They're not good enough. And they can do but only so much to make themselves good enough. Does Giannis, with that attitude, with that fire in his belly, that champion, that MVP, that former defensive player of the year, does that look like a guy that wants to be sitting around losing game after game and being on a team that's irrelevant, and the only thing that's relevant about them is him, and it's only until April, and then he goes back to Greece? Does he strike you as that kind of person? Not to any of us who covers him. We know better than that. He's a warrior, and he's a winner, and he doesn't want to be in that situation. He just doesn't want to tell the citizens in Milwaukee, I don't want to be with you anymore. He doesn't want that on his basketball epitaph. That's all. That's what we're dealing with here. And it's unfortunate because it leaves stuff up in the air, and then he gives these quotes indicating that he wouldn't mind staying. Of course he doesn't mind staying as a citizen. Of course he doesn't mind staying in the city. He just doesn't want to be a part of this basketball team because he knows the basketball team ain't going to win anytime soon. That's the reality. And he has a hard time admitting that publicly. That's what this is all about.
I hope that is the case because, I mean, as Wendy said, there's so much fatigue with this now, and I feel like it's just constant missed messages, like constant missed messages. Then just say, like, I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't say he wants to be there. It's confusing. By the way, back to the Doc Rivers thing. It's the first time a Doc Rivers coach team has finished in the bottom 10 offensively and defensively. Clearly, this was just not his year.
They're not good.
They're not good.
They're not telling.
They were not good. Coming up here on First Take, the Knicks draw the Hawks in the first round of the playoffs. Should they be on upset alert?